Just under 2 years after its release on the PS5, the remastered version of Marvel's Spider-Man hits the PC and is Steam Deck verified. This game was created by Insomniac Games, and the PC port was helped out by Nixxes. Today I'll be focusing on the different upscaling techniques you can use and the performance it gives you, as well as the different quality settings you can use on the Steam Deck and what kind of performance you'll expect. I'll also briefly be touching on some bugs I encountered with the game, primarily crashing issues when changing the settings. So let's jump right into it. Spider-Man starts off with a pretty action-packed opening that takes place in a lot of smaller environments. These smaller environments aren't necessarily representative of the actual gameplay experience you're going to get later on when it comes to performance. Performance in the open world swinging segments is generally a lot more intensive than you'll see here in these smaller environments in combat, but here we're hitting around 60 FPS using medium settings with filtering set to 16x and also using FSR 2.0 in balanced mode. Generally, swinging around the city using these same settings I mentioned earlier, I'm getting anywhere from 40 to mid 50s in the FPS range, with it generally hanging around the upper 40s or lower 50s. Now this game takes full advantage of our GPU here on the Steam Deck and also uses our CPU cores quite a bit, and because of that, we're going to get pretty bad battery life for this game overall. Here sitting around 50% battery life, we're getting around an hour of battery life remaining, so you can expect around 2 hours on a full charge. It is worth noting that this capture is done on an external monitor though, so your battery life will probably be a little bit worse on your Steam Deck because the screen will be on and depending on your screen brightness level. Another thing I wanted to mention before we get too far along here is that I have the game installed to my microSD card as it's rather big, around 60 gigabytes. The loading time here is substantially longer than it is on the PS5 or on my PC with a PCIe 4.0 SSD, but if you install this game to your internal storage, it'll probably be faster. And there was only one instance I noticed swinging around the city where maybe it could have been storage related, where it didn't load the area fast enough, so the game had to chug for a little bit. I just want to give you the full effect of the loading time here. It doesn't take that much longer, but once we do show this off here, I'll go ahead and cut over to that part where the game slows down a little bit while we're swinging around the city. After you load into the initial game world though, there aren't very many other loads you're going to encounter, so putting this on your microSD card should work okay here. I did want to mention that you can see the textures here and they look like they aren't loaded in, and then after this little break, they are loaded in. This was right after I changed to the high quality preset, so maybe it just took the game a little bit longer to load those high quality textures in. Now here for this frame rate comparison, all these clips are using FSR 2.0. On the left we have low setting preset though, in the middle we have medium, and on the right we have the high preset. Now, in the high one, in the beginning there, we do have that little bit of stutter and load in for the texture that I mentioned earlier, but after that, things smooth out here. Now, if we look at the frame rates, the low one definitely gets the closest, hitting 60 FPS consistently. The middle one is usually in the middle to low 50s, so mid 40s to low 50s. And on the right-hand side, we're usually hanging in the low to mid 40s, and it can even dip into the high 30 frames per second range there. In my experience, just swinging around the city is the most graphically demanding thing you can do in this game. There's a lot of geometry on the screen when you're swinging around, and you're moving very fast, so you have to load through a bunch of different assets quickly. Another comparison I wanted to make was between Insomniac's own upscaling method and FSR 2.0. It can be a little bit hard to make out the difference here on a small screen, but I think FSR 2.0 looks quite a bit sharper than Insomniac's own upscaling method here. In this comparison, both of them are running at the balance preset. There's a good amount of preset options, and you can also target a frame rate with these. As far as performance is concerned, we have both of them pulled up here now, swinging around the city. I think the performance is really similar overall, and here they're both running at the balance preset again. I think that the average frame rate might be a touch higher on the IGTI version, but honestly, the look of FSR 2.0 is a lot better in my opinion, so I would always go with that one. I also wanted to get a baseline performance here with no upscaling applied, so this is just using TAA and running at 720p for my external monitor. Frame rate is a little bit lower here overall than using the upscaling methods. The game does look a little bit sharper though. Now, one thing to notice here is that this game's about to crash, and I had a few of these crashes occur to me, about 3 of them in total, and they always seem to happen when I changed settings and then ran around the city a little bit, or even just when I changed the settings, the game would crash. So maybe there's something on the Steam Deck related to this graphics setting changes and crashes. On my PC, I haven't noticed anything, but hopefully this gets ironed out pretty soon. One thing I did notice about this was that our GPU and our RAM allocation combined was above 16 gigabytes, so maybe we were just using too much memory here, and that's what caused the crash to occur. Here we have another image quality comparison between FSR and IGTI, but this time I've included FSR high in the mix. Here, from left to right, I think we have best image quality to worst image quality. One strange thing I did notice here was that there was some artifacting going on in the front of this SUV, but that was across all versions, so I'm not sure what's happening there. Next up here, I locked the display to 30 frames per second on the Steam Deck and turned off VSync for the game. I also went into the settings menu and set FSR 2.0 to target 30 FPS instead of any particular balanced or high setting. I think this is a really good mix of everything. Our frame rate is extremely consistent here at 30 FPS. This is using medium settings, by the way, again, with filtering set to 8x currently. So I think this is a good sweet spot for the game, honestly. You're getting a lot better battery life. Here at 50% battery life, we have about an hour and a half of remaining battery time, and you can see from our CPU usage, it has dropped a good amount, and that will give us a lot more battery life overall, since the Steam Deck's CPU does consume a lot of battery compared to its GPU. Now, as far as the settings I would recommend for you to use on the Steam Deck, I would use the medium preset and then tune it to see what you can get, and then also set FSR 2.0 to target 45 FPS. On your Steam Deck, lock the display to around 40 or 45 FPS, and I think with all of that, you should have a pretty good consistent performance overall. 60 FPS is pretty hard to obtain here, even if you drop the game down to low settings. Maybe on very low, it's more attainable, but I think still retaining that nice visual quality while getting around 45 FPS is going to be the good mix here. You're getting better performance in the PS4 version, and the game looks better here on the handheld than it would on the PS4 on a TV. Spider-Man on the PC was getting a lot of patches right up to launch, so some of the pre-patch footage you might see from people might not be totally accurate to how the game's going to perform on day one, like we see here. Hopefully that also means that this game's going to get patched more in the future post-launch and we can get even more performance improvements. But that about covers it, guys. I'll let some gameplay run out here. If you want to check out more of my videos, subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of Steam Deck content and other gaming videos there. Other than that, have a good one and have fun playing Spider-Man.
National Rocket Day or something? Gotcha! Man, how'd the bomb squad guys get through this? He's here! Get him! Settle down. I've got enough for everybody. Enough talk! What the hell was that? Okay, room is clear. Bomb squad must be somewhere ahead. Hope they're okay. You guys all right?
We were just about to call for backup.
I think I'm it.
Lead the way. We'll be right behind you. Heads up, boss.
So you guys were in bed with Fisk all along? Oh no, I'll never get that image out of my head. So your plan didn't work. On to plan B, getting kicked in the face. Hey Yuri, looks like some of your guys were on Fisk's payroll. Good news is, they were Willie's last line of defense. I'm right outside his office.
Take him down, now.
With pleasure. Writing your memoirs? Don't forget the hyphen between Spider and Man.
Get the chopper ready. I won't be long. I'm surprised you made it this far. But your foolishness ends now.
You do know I can still see you, right?
8 years of this insolence.
Oh, for me? You shouldn't have. Gotta wait for an opening.
What are you doing?
What's wrong, Willie? You seem angry.
I will destroy you!
Take your best shot. That gave me an opening.
You'll die as uselessly as you live!
Take your best shot.
Tiresome annoyance!
Hang in there. It'll be over soon.
You are everything that's wrong with this city!
Huh. I was gonna say the same to you.
You know what to do, men!
Surround it! Everyone's engaged!
I'm tired of you! Go along! You fools! Free to fight, so fight! I don't want excuses! What do I pay you for? No! I can handle myself! Imbeciles!
You don't mess with the king!
Where are the reinforcements?
I don't know, boss.
I planned this!
You asked for it. So, should we kiss now? Yeah, maybe later.